Hi everyone, welcome to Watch This Dubble. As always, it is I, Double, your hyperfixation homie, your omnipresent host, and the person that's gonna do what she does best. And let's take you all on a journey. And boy, is today's topic a journey. Hear me. Before we even get into that, I just hope you all are doing well and are happy and healthy and all of the good things. I hope that's true for everyone. As for me, life's been pretty good. It's been simple, no complaints. And I'll take no complaints 10 out of 10 times. But I want to get into today's topic. Guys and gals, because, you know, we don't have gender preferences over here. But y'all, I don't usually watch reality shows. They don't hold my interest for very long, especially since most of them are low stakes and full of messiness. I don't necessarily align with that. That type of entertainment that is reality shows, it doesn't move me because it doesn't affect me. Like, I like to watch things that cause a little tingle in my brain. You know what I'm talking about. Like, I want to be involved in what I watch. And that could be some sort of emotional attachment or just making me use my brain. I just want to feel interactive with it. And most of the things that make reality shows, it, like I said, it doesn't catch my interest. But y'all, I found a reality show that I was high-key obsessed with. I have been watching this show since December, y'all. I don't know how it managed to itch that right spot in the brain, but my goodness, did it itch that spot in my brain, y'all. The show that I have been obsessed with has finally wrapped up. And y'all, I have to chat about it. I have to. I have thoughts in bold capital letters, thoughts. And if I'm not mistaken, this is our first discussion of a reality show, so I'm kind of excited. But yeah, I want to get into it. So no big introduction into this episode. It's a lot to cover, y'all. It's a lot to cover. So we're going to get straight into it. I will be discussing homophobia, biphobia, and xenophobia in this episode. So please be mindful of any potential triggers. And also, before I get into the show and its background, I need to make a quick disclaimer or a quick statement. Like I said, I have several thoughts about this reality show. But they are just that. My thoughts. They're my opinions. Everybody got them. Everybody has their own opinions. And I know that since this is a reality show, the people that are on the show are actual real people with real lives. Any comments I make towards these people and their personalities is just how I see things. My thoughts and my commentary on this isn't meant to be taken personally. I don't know these people. They don't know me. I'm just commenting on what I see, y'all. So I don't want nobody to come at me for defamations. I don't have the coins if they sue me, all right? So yeah, just the preface. I'm not trying to cause a ruckus, okay? Okay. If you follow me and you've seen my TL lately, you know I've been having plenty commentary on hashtag Zelena, which is a ship from Grande Fratello, which is the Italian version of Big Brother. Now, I know most of y'all have no earthly clue what I'm talking about, but for those that are chronically online or super extra gay, you should already know what I'm talking about. You should already know. So, okay, boom, background. As I said, Grande Fratello is an Italian version of Big Brother. The show premiered in Italy in 2000, and it's a big cultural thing for them over there since it's basically become a staple of Italian television since 2000. Like the US version, it is a social experiment that takes several people from different walks of life and places them in a house together for them to live together. The people in the house, and I'll refer to them as housemates, they have no contact with the outside world beside the occasional visitors that are set up by production on episode days, or, just random people coming in for like events or whatever. The housemates, they are constantly mic'd up, and there are cameras in the entire house to document everything. Outside of the episode days or puntatas, they call them puntatas there, there are several 24/7 running feeds that allow the viewer insight into what's always going on throughout the house. Again, like the US version of Big Brother, there are eliminations from the house and confessionals. And in these confessionals, housemates can share their unfiltered thoughts, and they get questioned by the Grande Fratello producers. I'm not going to say Grande Fratello every time. We're going to shorten it to GF. So where GF differs from the US version of Big Brother, it's in its competition structure. So while we know that Big Brother in the US is a reality show, it's also a competitive type show. There are challenges. I know we all know of the head of household, the vetoes. Basically everything in US Big Brother is all to reinforce that it's a game within the social experiment. GF is not like that. GF leans heavily on the emotional parts. There aren't quote unquote challenges per se, like what you see on our US version of Big Brother. Grande Fratello, it thrives on emotional connections, emotional conflicts, relationships, and clips. Clips are a huge thing for GF. Most of its viewers and most of us, we have lives, and we can't watch that live stream 24/7. So producers, they put together these clips to be shown on puntata days. Remember, puntatas are episodes. And these clips are basically used to condense all that footage, that 24/7 footage, down to a quick palatable story that can be shown to the viewer and to those in the house. These clips, compared to how they're used in US Big Brother, it's a much bigger thing. Grande Fratello makes sure the clips are dramatic, emotional, and y'all, they're damn near always taken out of context. So yeah, if you haven't peeped it already, GF really goes for the emotional drama. Since GF likes to build on emotions and connections, the viewer, at least I'll speak for myself, I kind of felt like the show was slower paced, and the contestants, the housemates, stay in the Grande Fratello house much longer than they do in the US. So for this particular season of Grande Fratello, it ran 6 months. It started in September and it ended the last day of March. I'll admit, I didn't start watching GF in September. Hell, I didn't even know it existed until December. So on X, Twitter, I kept seeing hashtag Zelena everywhere. I would see these videos and edits of these two white women having really intimate conversations and, light touches, cutesy shit. At first, I didn't pay those videos or that hashtag any mind. It was in a foreign language. I don't speak Italian. I had no clue of the context for these posts or these videos, so I ignored them for the most part. But y'all, when I say they kept showing up, the post kept coming, like dominating my timeline. So I eventually find a video with English subtitles, and I find a video of these same two white women sitting on a red couch, and they were completely enamored with one another. They were in their own worlds, infatuated with one another, yet they were surrounded by a house full of people. At this point, I didn't know it was Grande Fratello or Big Brother. But ever since I saw that video, I was hooked. Now, it felt like there were 1,000,000,001 housemates on Grande Fratello on GF. And I think in actuality, over the course of the show, there were 35 housemates in total. Y'all, there's no earthly way that I can discuss all these people. It's far too many of them. They all had a bunch of different dynamics going on. And to be honest, I wasn't focused on most of them, the majority of them anyway. And honestly, there were only a handful of people in that GF house that you could consider true stars of that show anyway. I end up finding out that #Zelena was the ship name of these two women, Zowdy and Helena. And to me, these women and their journeys did end up becoming the focal point of this season. So we're going to kind of focus on their dynamic today. First, we have Miss Zowdy de Palma. And I'm a Southern Black woman. Like, I'm going to butcher these Italian names and Brazilian names. So I apologize in advance. But we have Zowdy. She is a 23-year-old university student from Naples, Italy. Girlie is a pageant queen, y'all. Girlie won Miss Italy in 2021. And since she won that, she's been in the public eye as a model, public appearances, television shows. And she's also really talented beyond belief. On the show, we find out that she's a tattoo apprentice, a drummer, a beatboxer. She's probably one of the most interesting people in the world. Zowdy, or Z, as I'm going to refer to her a lot today, she's a lover girl in every sense of the word, in every sense of the description. She's emotional. She can be really emotional. She is really emotional. She's also too open with her feelings sometimes. And I think she's far too forgiving, at least too forgiving for my liking. Zowdy, she entered the GF house as a replacement. And since I didn't watch the show from the beginning, I'm not exactly sure what happened that allowed her to be a mid-season replacement. But she did. On the other hand, the other side, we have Miss Helena Prestes. Helena is a 34-year-old model from Sao Paulo, Brazil. On the show, we find out that Helena had a difficult home life growing up and that she left Brazil to financially evolve. She's been on other reality shows. And personality-wise, Helena is what you could call a strong woman. And take that word strong in whatever context you like. She is very direct. She doesn't mince her words. And she's emotional, but not in the same way that Zowdy is. And you'll find out why later. Helena, she was an original housemate, so she came in September. Let's see. I'm trying to think what else we need to know about Grande Fratello or these women. I can't think of anything right now. So yeah, background's done. All right, let's pick up from when I really got invested in this show in December. For us sapphics, us lesbians, there's a certain energy or aura that happens when you find a woman that you're interested in. And y'all, I peeped that immediately when I kept seeing those #Zelena videos in late December. Peeped it immediately, y'all. I had to find out what was going on because the energy between those two women was so charged. I really encourage y'all to just find some videos and just see how charged their energy was. And y'all know I love gay shit. So I dove right in. I found a couple of popular Twitter and Instagram accounts that were keeping up with the day-to-day lives of those in the GF house. I end up eventually finding the 24/7 live feeds. Y'all, I was in there like swimwear. When I started down that GF rabbit hole, Helena and Zowdy were doing a lot of flirting. The women were in their own world. They would spend their entire day together in the house, joking, talking, smiling. They were happy. Their connection, it felt really light and genuine. They even slept in the same bed together. I had the pleasure of seeing them share smooches and kisses on the live feed. The women would talk about their backgrounds, their hopes, their dreams. All of it was really super cute. Like, it was super cute. There would be moments where I would watch the clips and the live streams, and the whole time I would just be swinging my feet and smiling and giggling. It legitimately felt like I was watching two people fall in love. That's what it felt like. And it just felt so good. And everything was good for these women until it wasn't. First, discretion. So Zowdy knew another housemate prior to entering the GF house. That housemate's his name was Alfonso. Alfonso and Zowdy end up sharing an intimate moment in bed that becomes a kiss and sort of a thing for Helena. At first, Helena tells Zowdy that the kiss isn't that big of a deal. I mean, it's the Grande Fratello house. It's meant for social exploration. It's meant for social connections. Go connect is basically what Helena says at first. That's not what she meant, though. She had other motives. Down the line and throughout the remainder of the show, Helena throws up the Alfonso kiss whenever she can, and she uses that as an excuse to get closer to another housemate, Javier. Prior to Zowdy arriving at the GF house, Helena had been trying to get her hands on Javier, been trying to get with that man, but Buddy friend zoned her. So Helena uses Zowdy's exploration with Alfonso to flirt with Javier, and she does this in front of Z constantly for days. The hot and cold relationship of these women, oh my gosh, it just kept on going. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the infamous white party and the Puntata debacle, but I want to save myself the drama, so look that up in your own time. Let's just say that Helena disrespected Z a million times over. And this was one of the first times that we see Helena discredit Zowdy's sexuality. Now, Zowdy never came out on the show, but it's safe to imply that she's bisexual or pansexual since she's dated both men and women. I'm not assigning her a label, but for the sake of this, we'll just say she's bisexual. Helena did all that discrediting and hateful things towards Zowdy and her sexuality, and she also ends up getting into a violent conflict with another housemate only a couple of days prior to that white party. I get it, living in a house with several other adults who have their own personalities and their own manners, it can be stressful. I can imagine. I'm sure it was annoying. But Helena and another housemate, Jessica, they get into it. At the base of it, the issues that caused the blow up, it was kind of nothing. Like I said, it was a bunch of grown people in a house with no way to escape one another. So conflicts, they were bound to happen. Helena had been provoked by Jessica. Jessica had called Helena an imbecile and made some xenophobic remarks that I will not say here because yikes. But this altercation led to a big verbal blowout, and Helena ends up grabbing a kettle and attempts to throw it at that housemate Jessica. It took Javier and another male house guest to remove Helena and ease the situation. Y'all, it wasn't pretty. The GF production team, they had Helena removed, and she spent a night in a separate suite. And eventually, Helena ends up leaving the GF house as a result. Now, the gays at this point have become a massive fan of Zelena. And they weren't having Helena leave the house. They weren't having it. Helena leaving the house, it breaks up the love story that was budding between her and Zowdy. You know, they wouldn't have been able, well, they didn't, but without Helena there, the women wouldn't have the chance to reconcile. And they also felt that Jessica received a slap on her wrist since she was the one that started it with the xenophobic remarks. So the gays end up mobilizing. These people, let me tell you what they did. They contacted GF. They contacted GF's producers, their commercial sponsors, the sponsors for the show, and they demanded that Helena get a chance to re-enter the GF house. They put pressure on these people, and the pressure worked. Helena, she ends up returning back to the GF house, but she does have to stay separate from the main house guests for a while. So she stays in what's called the Tegorio, and that's basically like a hovel. So like it's like a building or a room connected to the main house, but it doesn't have all the luxuries of the main house. So she's there with other replacement house guests, and she's basically waiting to enter in the main house. Let's take a pause on what Helena had going on, and let's see what Zowdy had going on while Helena was out of the house. Helena left, and Zowdy was sad. Her boo was gone. You could probably even say she was depressed. And she kind of kept to herself, but guess who came slinking around her with his slimy self? Javier. A little bit about Javier. Javier is, I think he's 29 or 30. He's Argentinian, and he's a volleyball player, a fairly attractive guy, F-boy. Those are my descriptors for him. So Javier, he comes around Z, they end up flirting, and one night they share a hug and the tiniest kiss. Let me reiterate this for y'all. The tiniest kiss. That kiss was so damn weak. And while Javier was into the kiss, anyone could tell that Zowdy wasn't. She wasn't into it completely. Zowdy had that stance before Helena left that she was only into Helena and no one else into the house. She was into Helena romantically 10 toes down. My personal belief is that the GF production team told Javier to approach Zowdy for drama's sake, because everyone knew that Zowdy was 10 toes down for Helena. So, you know, I think production team caused that drama, because on the next puntata, when Helena is reintroduced to the house, shit hits the fan. Now, remember when I told you that Helena had a thing for Javier prior to Zowdy's arrival? That comes back to play here. When Helena was in the Tegorio, the hovel, she had no contact, very little contact with the other main house guests. Like, she would have moments where she would talk to Zowdy through windows and walls, but eventually the GF production team, they made them separate. So she had no idea what was going on. But going back to the puntata, Helena is forced to watch these clips of Javier and Zowdy getting closer and sharing that kiss. And mind you, these clips are taken heavily out of context to make my girl Z look bad. Again, drama for drama's sake. Now, Helena is completely and clearly blindsided by this, but instead of her spreading blame equally between Javier and Zowdy, she put it all on Z. All on Z, which to me is weird, because while she was in that Tagario, Helena would talk about Zowdy damn near nonstop. Another contestant kind of asked her what she felt romantically towards Zowdy, and Helena responded that she was basically in love with Z. And mind you, like, this is what Zowdy's only been in the house a month. So she said that she was ready to see Z, she was in love with her, and couldn't wait to get back to the main house to reconcile with her. So yeah, y'all, production got the drama they wanted, and they end up making a dynamic between Z, Helena, and Javier that, quite honestly, is ridiculous. It's now the end of January, and at this point, I've been invested in this reality show for a month. Hindsight being 2020, y'all, I should have jumped ship. I should have jumped ship right here, because the experience, it high-key goes downhill. The tension between Zowdy and Helena is still there. You know, Helena's back in the house at this point. Helena accused Zowdy of manipulating her with her eyes. I will admit, Zowdy is a beautiful lady. I mean, you can't be a pageant queen without being attractive. And she has eyes and a stare that pierces the soul. Again, just go find a video of her, go find a picture of her, and just look at her, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. It's a very sensual glare. But manipulated you with her eyes? Come on now. Like, come on. So at this point, Zowdy is in with the up and down and round with Helena. So she tries to have a one-on-one conversation with Helena to figure out what it is that Helena wants. In this conversation, Zowdy flat out declares that she's infatuated with Helena. I mean, it could probably be a love declaration if you look hard enough into what she was saying. I felt it was that way, but she stood by that she meant infatuation. So we're going to stand by our girl. Helena claims that she understood what Zowdy was saying and respect where Zowdy is coming from. So you would think that things would heal, or should start to heal, right? No. Helena did not capito. Helena did not understand. Because in that same conversation, Helena accuses Zowdy of enjoying being in that triangle with her and Helena and Javier. And Helena insinuates that her, and by her means Zowdy's bisexuality is basically her being confused and wanting to date two people at once. Yikes. As a viewer who watched this in real time, yes, I sat there and I watched these women have a conversation in Italian, not understanding anything until I saw the subtitles. But as someone who watched this real time, Helena's comments were unnecessary. They were unneeded, uncalled for. Her words made me wonder, did she even understand what bisexuality was at the simplest definition? And even on another level, you clearly didn't understand Zowdy, even though y'all have been around each other for a month. So do you not know who you've been stringing along romantically for a month at this point? Weird. The aftermath of the conversation between Zowdy and Helena, to me, is legendary in Grande Fratello lore. It is. Because guess who comes slinking back around again? Yep. F-boy Javier. So at this point, he's kind of come around to Helena's advances, but he still has his eye on Zowdy. F-boy, like I said. I can't get mad at him. Honestly, the guy was playing a game. Getting attached to the two women in the house who gets the most live screen time, it was strategic as heck. Hand claps to him. Zowdy makes a mistake and ends up entertaining Javier. Lay side. Just lay side, because girl, why? I get why she did it. You know, she's trying to split from Helena and get over that emotional attachment that she has for Helena. So I don't blame her. Like, you're not going to break my heart and degrade me over my sexuality, and you still think I'm going to sit here and be your puppy dog? No way. It's not going to happen. Z and Javier, they end up spending some time together. Once again, end up in Javier's bed, cuddling. Dude has spent that whole day trying to get Z into his bed, only for him to attempt to kiss her, and she straight up rejected him. Again, you could tell that she was uncomfortable by his advances. And again, I think this was a GF production ploy. I do. Helena ends up finding out about the cuddling, the potential kiss, and of course, the result is her becoming an even more mean girl to Zowdy. And when I say mean girl, it's to the point of almost hatred towards Z. She's constantly talking down on Z, constantly talking down on the girl's home and family life, constantly talking down on her sexuality. It was bad. And as I stated earlier, Zowdy is an emotional woman. She wears her heart on her sleeve. She's one of those people. For several weeks and through several puntatas, I had to witness Zowdy cry and hurt at the hands of Helena, and indirectly, but I'm not gonna say indirectly, but she had to deal with crap at the hands of Javier and Helena. My beef with Javier, because clearly I got beef with him. My beef with him is that he didn't get any blame for his actions. From Helena to the other housemates to the general voting public, like, no one held this man accountable. No one held him accountable for his role in furthering the rift between these two women. He could play both sides, and he did play both sides, and he came out unscathed. And that's a whole nother thing, because I feel like that's just another representation of how men are not held to the same standards as women. But yeah, y'all, on those puntatas, Zowdy was crucified. She was made out to be the bad guy, indecisive. Shoot, y'all name it. She was it. That's what those people did to her. February rolls around, and the GF housemates, they participate in an event that's meant to celebrate Chinese New Year. Y'all, I wish y'all could have seen this. The appropriation that was going on was crazy. It was crazy. But I digress. I'm not Chinese, so I'm not going to get into it, but it was crazy. Now, during this party, Helena, Zowdy, and Javier, they go off to the side and they have a conversation. The gist of this conversation is basically Zowdy saying, hey, I'm happy for you guys. If you want to pursue each other, be together, then do it. Do it, and please leave me out of it, and I will not bother you at all. That was the gist of her words. The result is Helena and Javier, they finally get together, but even the way that they made their relationship official was sus as hell. Now, remember I told you, Javier, he had friend-zoned her. He had friend-zoned Helena for the longest. But he gets a message from his dad on an airplane, and that's a whole thing. Like, people in the public, they can send little messages on planes, and they fly over the GF house, and it can be for their favorite contestant. So Javier gets a message from his dad that says, stick with Brazil. We know that Helena is from Brazil. So there you go. And he ends up kissing Helena to, I guess, commiserate the relationship, or to lock in the relationship. Now, Zowdy had made her stance clear. She was done with y'all. But of course, there has to be drama for the sake of drama. It's not a reality show without it. And this is where we see another version of Helena. Helena had already been a mean girl. She had already been abrasive. She never bit her tongue, and she always said whatever she wanted, whenever she wanted. But y'all, this lady got downright nasty and evil towards Z after she got with Javier. It was disgusting. She would continue to make comments about Z's sexuality. She would call Z confused, fake, and she would then insinuate that Zowdy was using her to gain clips, to gain traction for the show. And Helena was so deluded that she even got other house guests to switch up on Zowdy, and they all end up accusing her of being a strategist. Like, Helena convinced herself and these people that Z planned out this whole love story with Helena just so she could win. Now, Helena says that because Zowdy had came in late, so she was able to see a month or two of the dynamic of the show. So she created this love relationship with Helena so that she could win. I want y'all to understand what the prize for winning Grande Fratello is. So the winner gets 100,000 euros. 50,000 of those will be going to a charity, I believe, of the winner's choice. And the other half, the other 50,000, goes to the winner itself. So you're telling me that Zowdy concocted this plan to ridicule herself for months on Italian national television, to fall in love with a hateful person like Helena just for $50,000 or 50,000 euros? I don't know, y'all. Make it make sense to me. maybe it makes sense to y'all, because it don't make sense to me. Now, with all of those, well, not all, with some of the housemates against Z, she begins to feel lonely. She feels misunderstood. And thankfully, she was able to find a new friend group with other housemates, Shyla and Kiara. Both of these women, Shyla and Kiara, they're not fans of Helena. And they were not fans of the way she treated Z. These three women, they end up becoming inseparable, which was great for me as a viewer, because at that point, I lost my reason to watch the show. Like, I was watching it still because I wanted to see Z win. And I started watching because of her connection with Helena. But when that fell apart, like, I wasn't having an enjoyable time watching the show. So having Kiara and Shyla rally around Z and show her genuine connection in the house, that revitalized my energy to finish off watching the show. Like, I got another reason to be happy. People are happy again. Like, let's go. Now, my recollection of this part of GF is a little bit hazy. I'll admit it. I was taking a lot of notes when Z and Helena were in their situationship. We'll call it that, situationship, because I wanted to say that I was the one who was there to witness the love story. Like, oh my gosh, like, I knew the lore. Once that subsided and I found out that Helena was homophobic, I stopped taking my notes. So I'm gonna pull all this from memory. So if I get anything wrong, charge it to my head, not my heart. I will say that even after Z got with her new friend group, Helena didn't stop with the name calling and the taunting. Helena would go on these live puntatas. Y'all, I love saying that word, puntata. She would go on these live puntatas, and she would continue to create that narrative that Z only got with her to create stories to get hype from women. And she would say that Zowdy didn't even like women sexually or romantically. Y'all, those were her words verbatim, that Z was creating hype and that she didn't really like women. Those words came from Helena's mouth. Helena even stooped so low that she made negative remarks about Zowdy's family, specifically her mother. So a little context to that. A few puntatas prior, Z's mother, she came on the show to give Zowdy support. And it was a really heartwarming moment, y'all. It was really sweet because Z's mom, she acknowledged how strong Z was with all the hate going on towards her for her sexuality and her actions in the house. Helena's hateful ass accused Z and her mom of putting on a show. Again, those were Helena's words verbatim, that Z's mom put on a show. Honestly, y'all, the things that Helena said and did to Zowdy, it would have got her an ass whooping if she was in any other situation. I guarantee it. Helena's insults and mean girl antics continue on, but Zowdy had Kiara and Shyla at that point, and thank goodness she did, because I don't know how she would have pressed on forward in that house on this show without having those women to befriend her and for her to be able to lean on them. The support that these two women gave her during those moments when Helena would say those hateful words or those homophobic remarks, their support would give Z that strength needed to fight back fire with fire, you know? Zowdy had always stood up for herself, but you know, like having a good friend group behind you, it makes you stronger. It gave her a shield, I would say, or, you know, just more strength to check Helena, because Helena needed to be checked. And I think about that. Like, there was a food fight. There was a moment after the food fight where her shield, that friend group, really, really came to help Zowdy. So the remaining house guests ended up getting into a food fight. After the fight was done, Helena began to spread, we'll say, falsehoods. She began to spread falsehoods that Zowdy was the one to smear her face with food. Y'all, does the lady not understand she's in a house that's monitored 24/7? Did she not get it? Because it was, in fact, Helena that smeared food on Zowdy's face first. And guess what? Not the other way around. Had it not been for Shyla and Kiara to step in and correct Helena on that lie, things would have escalated further. It really would have. But let's be real. Me, other viewers, we know that Helena thrived on drama, and she would create conflict with Zowdy whenever she could. And literally moments after, I think it was a day after the food fight, like, she accused Z of throwing water on her. Like, what are we, 10? What are we, 10? Now, of course, Zowdy didn't do that. The 24/7 cameras running nonstop proved that. Again, I just don't get it. Like, I don't want to judge someone or judge their mental stability, but y'all, something is not all there with Helena. I'll say it. Something's not all there. Something's not right. Helena attempts to approach Z after the water throwing debacle, and she does it menacingly, like aggressively, really uncalled for. I wish I had a clip, because I would put it right here for you to see. But thankfully, Shyla removes Zowdy from that situation. But Helena, being the unstable and aggressive person that she is, she had to put that abrasive energy elsewhere. So she turns to Kiara and approaches her in an even more threatening way. And ironically, the only way that she was removed from the situation was by Jessica, the same person who Helena attempted to throw the kettle at just what, a month or two before. It was insane, y'all. It was insane. Y'all, it was really insane. And just to keep this Watch This Double episode going, because this woman did stuff like this constantly, but to keep the episode going, that was basically the energy that Helena did and showed us viewers and Zowdy and the house guests until the show ended. Let's fast forward to the final night in the GF house. At this point, a majority of the housemates have been eliminated, including Javier, Helena's boy toy. And y'all, his elimination was so satisfying to me. This man thought he was going to win the whole thing, only for him to lose to Kiara. And the reason why Kiara won is because Zowdy had a crazy fandom and the fandom voted against him like crazy. So very, very, very satisfying loss. But yeah, so the final night in the GF house, it included a dinner with the remaining housemates. So they were all given a stage to tell the remaining people there how they really felt about one another without being interrupted. So this gives Zowdy a chance to talk to Helena and vice versa. Zowdy gives a truthful but tasteful assessment of her relationship with Helena. She tells Helena that, well, she admits that she was infatuated with Helena. She compliments Helena, but also explains to her why the things Helena said to her were hurtful. And she then explained why she could not have any type of relationship or friendship with Helena outside of the GF house. Helena, on the other hand, kept repeating the same old tired ass rhetoric that she had been saying. She said that Zowdy was fake, that she used Helena for clout, blase blase, you know, the usual hateful bullshit that spewed out that lady's mouth. So that night finishes, the finale episode comes around, and thank goodness it does. At this point, y'all, it's been 4 months for me. I don't think I could have taken any more. I don't think I could have taken any more of Helena and her hurtful words. I was still involved with the show, but I was exhausted, y'all. I don't know. So anyway, the finale, they finally whittled down from the million housemates. It felt like they finally whittled it down to the final 5. Obviously, Zowdy and Helena, they were finalists, and the way the finale was set up is interesting, to say the least. The way that they would determine the winner is there would be one-on-one instant televotes until the show had its winner. And we have the 5 finalists standing around a rotating table, and the table is covered with red pyramids. And each guest, one by one, would pick up a pyramid. If the pyramid had a gold seal on the bottom, that means you're safe from the televote. If it had a black seal on the bottom, you were up for the televote. Now, y'all, the reality TV guys, they were cooking. They knew what they were doing. They had something delicious or possibly something traumatic set up for the first round of these televotes. And if it wasn't the reality TV show guys, then it was GF production, because guess who ends up going head to head in the first round? Yep. Helena versus Zowdy. Now, I must tell you guys that at this point, both women have pretty big fan bases. But Zowdy's is huge, like very, very huge. It was confirmed on social media that she had fans from at least 138 countries. At least 138 countries watching an Italian show. It's insane. So all those fans, they were mobilizing, they're voting with VPNs, and they had basically ensured that Zowdy and her allies would be safe from most elimination votes. Like I said, that's how Kiara ended up beating Javier. So on paper, Zowdy should have washed Helena in this televote, like straight up whooped her. And again, I don't know if this is reality TV show guys or if it's the GF production, but Zowdy ends up losing closely, and she places 5th throughout the entire competition. Side note, the percentages. So Helena won that televote 52% for her, 48% for Zowdy. A few days earlier, there was an article circulating around on social media, and this article accurately predicted what would happen on the finale, as well as the percentages. Yeah. And your girl Double voted real time. And that website was acting crazy. It had never done what it did that night. It was slow to load, and half of my votes didn't go through. Just really weird. And I voted for all of the instant televote rounds in the finale, and the televote between Helena and Zowdy was the only one that I had technical difficulties with. Now, I'm not saying anything is fishy, but I'm also not saying anything is fishy, you know? So Z ends up losing, and the reactions the former housemates had to her loss was disgusting. Like I told y'all earlier, Helena had put into most of these contestants' mind that Zowdy was fake. She was a horrible person. She was using her sexuality, blah, blah, blah. These people, they cheered and basically said that by Helena beating Zowdy, good has defeated evil. Child, the evil was still there. It was in the form of Helena Prestis. And I'm not even going to lie to y'all. Watching Zowdy lose to Helena, it felt like watching that orange man win the election here in the United States. I was distraught. I was down bad. I had only felt like that once before when it came to a television show. And I felt the same way I felt when Villanelle died on Killing Eve. So for those people that know how that felt, that's how I felt in the moment with Zowdy losing to Helena. So the televotes, they keep going on, and Helena ends up making it to the final round. And who does she go against? She ends up having to compete against Jessica, the lady she tried to hit with the kettle. Helena and her cronies, they were sure they had this in the bag. Like, they thought, they knew if Helena was able to beat Zowdy, she was going to beat Jessica, because even though Jessica is a big name in Italy, in the house she was a non-factor, and she didn't have that public fandom that Helena had. So Helena thought she had it in the bag. But hold on, y'all. Hold on. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Hey, shalalaboka. Helena ends up losing, y'all, and my goodness, it might have been the most satisfying L I've ever seen take. It affected me even more so than Javier losing. I was so happy. I've never been so happy to see someone lose in my life. It was crazy. Helena, she ends up handling the loss very graciously, but still, y'all, it was fulfilling to see. It was fulfilling to see her give up that much dignity to destroy others, only for her to get to this final point just to lose. And y'all can call me a hater or whatever. I don't care. I'm just happy that evil didn't win. There is much to be said about Grande Fratello, about its contestants, and even on a broader scope, Italy, and their opinions on sexuality and protecting those that need protection. I don't know if I'm the best person to address all of that, or that this space is the best place to address all of that, but trust me, I do have my thoughts. Zowdy suffered in that house. And sure, she had some good moments, but sister, she suffered seriously. She suffered at the hands of those in the GF house. These housemates, they attacked her character, her sexuality, her family. Y'all, there's nothing I can say that can explain what these people said and did to this woman. You would have had to watch it or watch the clips to understand where I'm getting at, because it was outrageous. And even like these housemates were ridiculous. And even when they got voted out, they would take to their social media soapboxes and they would side with the remaining bullies in the house to continue to bully Z from the outside. And then they would make allegations that Zowdy's fandom, which are called the Zootaniers, they would make allegations that her fandom were the real bullies because they voted them out the house, those other housemates out the house. Zowdy suffered at the hands of the Grande Fratello hosts, commentators, producers. These are the people that are running the show. So if you see one of your contestants going through the things that she went through, you would think that they would step in to ease the suffering. You would think that. They didn't, obviously. And if anything, they ramped up the hate towards Zowdy by taking these clips out of context and forcing her to interact with her bullies. She suffered at the hands of the Italian public. Like, I'll be real with you, she did. Some of the Italian public sided against her. I've seen negative articles written about her. It's sad. It's crazy. And she's a native Italian. Y'all, there were weeks in the house where Zowdy cried every day. And it's not an exaggeration. My hyperfixated ass was there to witness all of it because I had become addicted. I thought I was going into this watching a budding love story within GF, and I got the opposite. And I wish I had detached earlier. It would have saved me a whole lot of pain. I sat through xenophobia, sexism, homophobia, biphobia, so much. I sat through so much. And as a viewer sitting there watching this, I felt helpless. I did. I'm older than Zowdy. And so I've lived through my fair share of people tossing my sexuality in my face. I've been through it. I've navigated through it. And I wish I had the ability to wrap my arms around that woman, because no one should have to deal with and live with people who disrespect them on a daily. And that's what they did. I can't explain the amount of disrespect Zowdy went through. And those people, especially Helena, who disrespected her, they have serious issues. They do. Helena would state on several occasions, literally every day, that Zowdy would do anything to win Grande Fratello. She would say that Zowdy lacked self-respect, that Zowdy wanted to be her, she wanted Javier, that she was fake. Anything negative, she would say it. But y'all, let's get factual here. Let's really be factual here. Helena was the one who did whatever it was to win. And she ended up coming in second place, which in my book is the first loser. When Zowdy removed herself from Helena after that Chinese New Year party, it was Helena that constantly brought up Zowdy's name. She was obsessed with trying to get Zowdy's attention to make her feel bad. I'll keep it a buck with y'all. Helena was the one who really lacked self-respect. This man, Javier, friend zoned you for months. For months, y'all. Ignored her. Like she was gum on, like she was nothing. Like she was a leaf on the sidewalk. Wasn't paying her no mind. He only decided to get with her after an airplane from his dad that told him to side with you because you were a little bit more popular than him. It wasn't because he liked you. And we know he didn't like you because he was so adamant about trying to get with Zowdy before that plane came. The whole house knew that. All the viewers knew that. Helena didn't. So who's lacking self-respect here? She gets with this man and then she has loud sex with Javier in a public sleeping area while being on a 24/7 camera stream. And in the Big Brother house, they kind of share a sleeping area. Like I said, it's a public sleeping area. Who was in that sleeping area with you? Zowdy. So she was going through heartbreak and had to listen to you have sex with a man who doesn't really like you and really likes her. Kind of messed up, ain't it? Where's the self-respect there, Helena? And we're not just gonna clock Helena. Zowdy, geez. No, we're not talking about her. Helena's boy toy Javier, he had his predatory moments. He spent days trying to get Zowdy, and not even Zowdy, other women. He spent days trying to get these women along with him or try to get them to come to his bed. Predatory to me, because they can't avoid him, you know? The production team isn't stepping in to do anything. So, you know. There were other LGBT housemates. And you would think those LGBT housemates would rally around Zowdy and make sure that the words that are coming to her, that are being hurled to her by hateful as Helena and others, wouldn't affect her, would try to prevent it from affecting her. No. These same people, these same queer LGBT castmates, they use Zowdy's sexuality as a laughing matter. It's crazy. Like, look, I'm not saying all of that to judge these people. I'm not. I'm just mentioning their wrongdoings because everyone has room to grow. Zowdy did need to grow while she was in that GF house. She had her fair share of issues too. But those people being hateful and biphobic towards her, it wasn't the way to do it. It wasn't the way to do it, especially when they had so much to work on themselves. So yeah, y'all, Grande Fratello, it was not an easy watch. And while the watch wasn't easy, I will say it had some good moments. It's nice to see the communities that rallied for these contestants, these housemates. There were, and there still are, dedicated translators. People are translating Italian in multiple languages. There are people who record everything so that these translators have access and that the general public has access to the things they're missed. There are people who did insane research. Groups that mobilize and set up meetups. Gifts like Zowdy and the housemates, they were showered in social media attention and gifts once the show ended. It's amazing. Like, Zowdy didn't win GF, but she won the hearts of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people are fans of her now. Like, I was looking at her Instagram because I went to go follow it. Hell, I'm a fan. When she started GF, her IG had around 40,000 followers. Pretty good. I mean, she was Miss Italy. As of today, when I'm recording this, she is over 312,000 followers. Crazy. 4-month span. GoFundMes have been established in her name. There was a GoFundMe going around to raise money to send to Gaza. And her fans also created another GoFundMe that has raised over $31,000. And I went to go look at that the other day, and I was like, oh, they're trying to raise up $50,000 to give to her since she didn't win the $50,000 for the show. The show only ended a couple of days ago, guys. I'm only recording this a couple of days after the show ended. They're already at 31,000 euros. It's amazing. And I'm sure they're going to get that 50,000 plus soon. Like, gays, they're amazing. And I think it's poetic because Z ended up gaining the fandom and fame that Helena and her cronies so desperately wanted. The night of the finale, like I said, these people, the fandoms, they mobilized. There was a group of people that saw Zoudy leave the GF studio, and there was a live. One of the people that was recording a live, and on this live was almost 400,000 people, myself included. I was one of them. So I after that ended, I decided to go look at some of the other former housemates, their lives and their viewing numbers. Helena, who came in second place, only had 11,000. 11,000 to almost 400,000. You tell me who really won? Like, who really won? Like, hate doesn't win, evil doesn't win. I'm glad Z got the fandom and the fame. She deserves it after what she went through. And even outside of that fame that she gained, like, I would be remiss if I didn't add that Zoudy did end up finding a relationship in the show, but it was a platonic relationship. She found a friendship for life in that GF house. So Kiara, one of those girls that became her shield, and Z, they literally become best friends, especially after Z broke away from Helena. So while she didn't get that romantic love story that we thought she deserved and she thought that she would have gotten with Helena, she definitely got a platonic soulmate, a platonic love in Kiara. And honestly, y'all, I think Zuchi, that's their ship name. I think Zuchi is a cuter ship name and a better ship than Zelena. I can't speak for Zoudy or Helena or any of the other housemates, but I am sure that this was an experience that they'll never forget. Some of them may do it again. I don't know why you would, but they'll never forget it. And hell, I could say the same thing for myself, because best believe you will never, ever, 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 ever catch Dub this deep into anything like this ever again. Y'all, that was a lot. A lot happened on that show. A lot that I don't remember. A lot that I wasn't there for. 2 months of it I wasn't there for. I hope I did justice with what I told you guys, because I feel like I barely scraped the surface of everything that went on between Helena and Zoudy. But yeah, whoever put that clip of them, that first clip that got me addicted, whoever put that on my timeline, I got real life smoke with you. That video is the reason why I lost 4 months of my life. But all jokes aside, getting caught up in GF, like, it did have its good moments. I was introduced to Zoudy Dupama, and I'm officially a fan. I got to immerse myself into another culture for months. I'm a black lady from the South. What the hell? I need to know what's going on in Italy. But I did. I immersed myself for months. I now know random Italian phrases. I've gained friendships through this reality show, through fandoms. It's amazing, and it's been a wild ride. It really has been. And I'm glad that I was able to be a part of it, to say that I was there, because it did end up becoming some sort of social phenomenon. And again, I'm glad I was there. And I'm glad I'm able to share a bit of what had me obsessed for months. I'm glad I'm able to share that with y'all. Like, everyone deserves to know about this insane story. And watching Grande Fratello, it opened my eyes to many different yet impactful things. Like, I'm trying to think of the best way to word this. I got to see power and the complexity of community in that Grande Fratello house, but also outside of it with all the fandoms created. And GF, that show, it really shined light on the challenges of interacting in complicated social situations. I hope that makes sense. Like, it really gave an insight to how people handle different things. Because I guarantee you, the way that Zowdy handled Helena, I wouldn't have done it. I would have been at that house because my paws would have been on that lady. You're not going to disrespect me. But I have to give her credit. I have to give Zowdy credit because she had a strength and a courage that most people did not have or would not have. And her actions, the fact that she was calm and she went through what she went through on that show, and she handled it with dignity and pride, and she never lost herself. That resonated with so many people, and her impact is going to go way further than just being on the show, way further than her just being Miss Italy. She has a star quality and authenticity and genuineness about her that if she wants to be an international superstar, she could 100% be that. She's not limited to just Italy. She has affected people worldwide, and she could take over if she wanted to. She got a fan in me, so she gonna get one of my dollars probably. But yeah, let's to wrap it up. Like, I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on this season of GF, or your thoughts on Zowdy, Helena's words, anything. I would love for you guys to just tell me. If you want to, come hit me up on X, because I'm still going to talk about it, because these housemates, they're still, since they now have this superstardom or this following after leaving the house, they're going to try to cultivate it. So they're still going to be on social media, and I'll still be involved. So if you want to chat with me about it, come chat with me about it. Come hit me up on X at Watch This Dubble. You know how double is spelled, DUBBLE. If you haven't checked out the previous episode, please do. I talked about Spencer Carlin. That's my girl. If you want to hear that episode and all the other ones, they're available on Spotify as well as the official YouTube for Watch This Dubble. As always, man, thank y'all. Thank y'all for hanging out with me. This one was a little bit longer, so thank y'all. Thank y'all for hearing me yap. Thank you for hanging out with your hyperfixation homie, your omnipresent host. I will catch y'all later with another banger, and I promise you, it's gonna be a banger. Peace out.